Ever heard of a doomsday scenario that scientists say genuinely terrifies them? It's not an asteroid or a supervolcano. It's happening right now, silently, in the depths of our oceans. And one country is already treating it as a matter of national survival. This is the story of the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, or AMOC, and why its potential collapse could plunge the world into a new kind of chaos. So what exactly is the AMOC? Picture a massive, global conveyor belt in the ocean. It's a complex system of currents that loops around the Atlantic, carrying warm water from the tropics up north. As this water reaches places like Iceland and northern Europe, it releases its heat, making those regions much milder than they would otherwise be. Think about it. Iceland, despite its name, has a relatively mild climate. That's the AMOC at work. Without it, Iceland would be much icier and stormier. After releasing its heat, the water becomes colder and saltier, making it denser. It then sinks deep into the ocean and flows back south, completing the cycle. This isn't just a weather regulator. It's the planet's circulatory system, and it's been pumping steadily for thousands of years, but now it's showing signs of faltering. Why is this happening? The culprit, as you might have guessed, is climate change. As global temperatures rise, glaciers and ice sheets, particularly in Greenland, are melting at an alarming rate. This dumps huge amounts of fresh water into the North Atlantic. This fresh water is less dense than the salty ocean water, and it disrupts the delicate balance of heat and salinity that drives the AMOC. It essentially throws a wrench into the engine of the conveyor belt, preventing the surface water from sinking like it's supposed to. The result: the entire circulation slows down, and a growing body of research is pointing to this slowdown happening right now. Scientists have been monitoring the AMOC for decades, and the data is becoming increasingly worrisome. Some studies even project that a full collapse isn't a far-off, distant future problem. It could happen within this century. When you ask climate scientists what potential climate impact scares them the most, the collapse of the AMOC is often at the top of their list. Stefan Rahmstorff, un enfant who have studied DIMU for years, says a shutdown can no longer be considered a low-likelihood risk. The impacts would be nothing short of catastrophic, and they wouldn't be limited to the North Atlantic. It would trigger a cascade of dramatic climate shifts across the entire globe. Let's talk about Europe first. Without the warm water from the AMOC, Northern and Western Europe would be plunged into a brutal deep freeze. We're talking about winters becoming drastically colder, with average temperatures dropping by several degrees Celsius. Sea ice, which is normally confined to the Arctic, could begin to creep southward, potentially reaching as far as the United States. It's a plausible scientific outcome. Imagine London or Paris dealing with Siberian-like winters every year. The effect on agriculture, energy infrastructure, and daily life would be devastating. But the chaos doesn't stop there. An AMOC collapse would also cause significant sea level rise along the east coast of the United States and parts of Europe. Why? The fast-flowing current of the AMOC actually pulls water away from the coastlines. If that current weakens or stops, the water would surge back, leading to catastrophic flooding in cities like New York, Boston, and Miami. We're talking about a level of permanent flooding that would make large coastal areas uninhabitable. And what about the rest of the world? The AMOC is deeply connected to global weather patterns. Its collapse would disrupt the monsoon systems in Asia and Africa, which billions of people rely on for their agriculture and water supply. The shift could lead to severe droughts in some regions and unprecedented rainfall and flooding in others, creating a food and water crisis on an unimaginable scale. Essentially, the world's weather would be thrown into disarray. The southern hemisphere wouldn't be spared either, as it would likely experience accelerated warming. It would be a complete reordering of the global climate system as we know it. This brings us to Iceland. This Nordic island nation sits right at the heart of the AMOC's critical northern zone. For them, this isn't an abstract scientific debate. It's an immediate and existential threat. If the AMOC collapses, Iceland would be, as one scientist put it, close to the center of a serious regional cooling. The country could find itself surrounded by sea ice for much of the year. This would cripple their fishing industry, which is a cornerstone of their economy. It would disrupt all forms of transport, isolating the island. Infrastructure built for a relatively mild climate would fail under the strain of extreme, persistent cold. Hey, like Hansson, Iceland's Minister for Environment, Energy and Climate, put it bluntly, our climate, economy and security are deeply tied to the stability of the ocean currents around us. He described the potential collapse as an existential threat, and Iceland's government is taking this threat more seriously than any other nation on Earth, in a groundbreaking move. Iceland's National Security Council has officially designated the potential collapse of the AMOC as a national security risk. This is the first time a climate impact has received this high-level designation in the country. This isn't just symbolic. It means the government is now launching a high-level, coordinated response. They are mobilizing resources to fully understand the threat, model the consequences for Iceland, and figure out how to prepare for a future that could be drastically different from today. It's a shift from just trying to reduce emissions to actively planning for adaptation to a potentially unavoidable catastrophe. As Minister Johansson said, this reflects the seriousness of the issue and ensures that the matter gets the attention it deserves. Scientists like Stefan Romsdorf have commended Iceland's proactive stance and are urging other countries to follow suit. The United States, the UK, and all of Western Europe are in the direct line of fire. Yet, the issue is barely on the public or political radar. The reality is that the consequences of an AMOC collapse would be so far-reaching that no country would be immune. Destroyed crops, flooded cities, mass displacement of people. This is the future we could be facing. The scientific community is still working to pin down the exact timing of a potential collapse. It's an incredibly complex system, and predicting its tipping point is difficult. But the evidence for a slowdown is undeniable. And the consensus is that the risk is growing with every ton of carbon we pump into the atmosphere. The science has evolved rapidly, and what once seemed like a distant possibility is now looking like a credible near-term threat. Iceland's decision marks a crucial turning point in how we perceive climate change. It's no longer just an environmental issue about saving polar bears or protecting rainforests. It is now, officially, a matter of national and global security. We may be reaching a point where some climate shifts are so drastic that adaptation becomes impossible. For Iceland, the conversation has moved beyond simple mitigation. It's now about survival. As their minister said, what we do know is that the current climate might change so drastically that it could become impossible for us to adapt. In short, this is not just a scientific concern, it's a matter of national survival and security. The story of the AMOC is a stark warning. It shows that the consequences of our actions can be sudden, widespread, and far more severe than we ever imagined. The silent slowing of an ocean current thousands of miles away could upend our world in ways we are only just beginning to comprehend. The question now is, will the rest of the world wake up to this threat before it's too late? Iceland has sounded the alarm. The time to listen is now. Thanks for watching. If you found this video informative, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the critical issues shaping our world. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Stay curious and stay informed.